We've talked a lot about reforms of policing, but there's kind of another branch of people, activists, community organizers, and people who are looking at policing as a systemic issue, racist policing as a systemic issue that's deeply rooted in kind of the history of policing in the U.S., that are looking a little bit further towards police abolition. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on police abolition as an idea, or at least on reforms that lead to decreased police presence, decreased funding to police departments, and a greater focus on community-based solutions, conflict resolution, and transformative justice.
Well, again, I'll start with this, not that I'm the only one that has anything to say. It's interesting because this is obviously coming up a lot now, and it's partly been part of the Black Lives Matter movement, but the questions about can we have a society free of police? Some of those things are looking at, as people have said, we ask police to do a whole array of things. So in Cambridge, our police department has 2 social workers. They've got a homeless outreach unit because at the moment, they're still being asked to do things that perhaps we shouldn't ask police to do. The other side of it is, what is the role of policing? Right? So is the role of policing to go around with firearms and jump into situations and stop bad things? Is it to deal with quality of life issues? Is it to check and make sure no one's breaking into your home when you're on vacation? So there's a broader question about what is it that we ask police to do. I'd say most people sort of in the middle would say that there probably will, for the time foreseeable, be a need to have police departments doing policing. But the question is, what do they do? And the other thing I'll just say is there are a lot of communities that I say many people would say are over-policed, and yet they're not asking for the abolition of police generally. They're asking for policing that's appropriate and accountable. So to the extent that we can find policing that is responsive to community needs, that may obviate some of the calls for the abolition of police. So it's not a complete answer to your question, but I think I wanted to get some of those issues that underlie your question.
John?
Yeah, well, I just think you look at the history of policing and where we've come from the 60s, 70s, 80s to where we are today, there's huge changes. And I think as we look at police legitimacy, procedural justice, and all these great things that are happening in our profession, we're seeing changes. But as Brian said, we took a group of 5th grade students in Washington, D.C., and we said, okay, tomorrow morning, there's no more police. You know what their biggest fear was? Who is going to take care of their mother? Right? The reality is police are in places today that you never saw them before. You can't go to a high school sporting event without police officers being present. You can't go to church without a police officer being present. And so they're historically reactionary, right? They're there because something bad has happened and they need to be there to protect us so that we can live our lives in a free society. So when we say abolish police, we're also saying abolish those protections, right? And we need those protections to be able to live in this free society. But I think we can do a better job, and we can definitely, I think procedural justice, legitimacy in policing, all of these things we are talking about, we're on the right path, all right? And getting in our, again, used to be, all you needed to be was a cop was a GED. Most police officers today have at least a bachelor's. Many have master's degrees. It's a smarter, more professional police force than we've seen in the past.